Hey folks, and welcome to a FOMO. Well, let's change FOMO. But first, you like this? This was a present from one of the designers of the game we're talking about today, which is Raas, A Dance of Love. And this was a present from here last year at Essen when we were starting to work more on the game. And these are actual Dandia sticks he brought me as well that are represented in the game. So I thought it might be fun to come on here and use them. Now, let's stop jingling these, shall we? Let's toss these over on the table. That was a loud noise. Anyway, so those who remember me, I'm Robert Geistlinger. I once hosted FOMO. I did a segment FOMO on crowd surfing, and I also used to do reviews on the Dice Tower. Now, I've obviously retired from doing those, but I thought, it might be fun for this game to do it once more. Having filmed today, I'm a bit rusty. But I hope that this will be a little bit fun nostalgia for those of you who remember me on there. But FOMO, that seems a bit odd for this game. Let's change the acronym, shall we? Let's do FOMO. Let's see. Follow our moves, okay? Sweet dance moves. Anyway, obviously I can't review this game. I'm publishing this game. But I will give you my thoughts on the other end of it as to why I fell in love with this game, why I'm publishing this game. But for right now, let's go ahead and go down to the table and get a look at how the game plays, and I'll be right back. Hey folks, today we are taking a look at Ra's A Dance of Love, as I stated in the intro. And here we're set up for two players. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dive right in and explain how you play the game as opposed to going through all the theme, as I talked about that in the up top in the intro. But before we do that, I do want to zoom in here and show you the board spinning because it is truly wonderful. So this is where the main dance takes place, and you'll see here that this spins, and you can really spin it pretty hard, but we're not going to go nuts here. We're going to spin it back into start. Okay, so we've got a teal player, we've got a red player here. Actually, simultaneously, rather, each player is going to select one of these discs that they are going to draft from. Now that is secret, and we're going to all do it simultaneously. But we're gonna get a little information. We're gonna look out here first. So the teal player is going. It depends on where you're sitting. The teal player is sitting here, so they are looking at all of the pink draft zones. The red player here is looking at all of the red draft zones right now. So that is their primary thing. Now, we'll talk in about a minute ways you can change that, but for right now, we're gonna start from the beginning. We haven't gotten anything. This shouldn't be there. And we are going to just take a turn. But the first thing I do want to talk about is love matches, because that is something you're going to want to take a look at the beginning. Now, a love match happens when either two colors match up between two discs, like these here, or two pip values. So if we look across the board, we see we've got a love match between A and B. We've got a love match between B and C because they're both blue. We have a love match between C and D here because they have the same pip value. We actually have a love match here as well with the two. That's a lot of love matches. We, however, do not have a love match over here, and we don't have a love match over here. So that's information because we know that we've got one on here, we've got two on this disc, two on this disc, two on this, and one on this one. But we're both going to simultaneously select. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select, let's say B, secretly for the teal player. And, for the sake of simplicity, we will say that the red player selects C. Now, what are we trying to actually do out on our player boards? Let's look at that real quick. We are trying to draft dice to place on the boards. Which is the learning a style of dance. We are trying to draft dress swatches, which will match up, hopefully. And we are trying to get Dandia sticks, right? So those are things. We're also, if you look up here on the player board, we are trying to increase our scoring engine because the way you score is going to be based on how you move these tracks up. And then finally, we're going to moving up this love track, which is based on those love matches we talked about earlier. So let's roll through. Let's simultaneously, we flip over. Now these are going to resolve in order A, B, C, D, E, and F in order. And if two players or more have selected from the same disc, it's going to resolve from the player who is who's their zone and around in order. So let's just say that teal had selected C. They didn't, but we're going to say they did for a second. First, red here would do it, then anybody else at C, and then finally teal would select C. But they didn't select C, they selected B. So starting with A, nobody selected. B here, I'm drafting from this zone. So first, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get a yellow 5. So I'll pull that out, and I get to select where I want to put it. Now, because this one right here has a yellow for a final scoring, probably behooves me to go ahead and place it there. Then I'm going to resolve my draft zone action, which in this case matches up with this here. I'm going to be moving this up by 1. So now my dress swatches are going to score my multiplication factor of 2. That's nice. And then finally, I'm going to look for love matches. Now, we already talked in the beginning, this one had 2 matches. So I'm going to move up 2 here on the love track. This first one, and one thing I do like is that there's this little menu, and I can show this up on the screen that explains everything. But for the purposes of this, this is going to move me, get me a random, because they're not colored in, a random Dondia stick and a random dress watch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the bag here. I'm going to close my eyes, randomly select one. I get this one. And I'm also going to randomly get a Dondia stick. So I'm going to reach into that bag, close my eyes, and I got that. And now I need to immediately place them out on my thing, out on my player board. So doesn't match there, but I know later I'm going to try to get these. So maybe I'm going to go ahead and put that one here. And maybe I put the Dondia stick here. I'm also moving up one more. This one here is 2 times, but I have to select 2 different things of moving up 2 of these tracks by 1. This isn't matching the current round because there's a current song tempo for the current round that's random at the beginning. Right now, we're at a tempo of 2, so 2s are what's going to score this round. Maybe I go ahead and move up one on the Dondia stick, and I'm going to go ahead and move up one on the dress swatch track as well. And that is going to complete my turn for this particular moment. We're going to move over here to the red player. The red player has drafted from this zone. They've selected C, so they're going to get a pink 2, which is great for them. They're hoping to get more things on the songs matches. So maybe they go ahead and they place it here on their board. And then they get to move up 1 on the dance track. So we'll go ahead and move that there for that. Love matches, again, we knew that there were 2 love matches, so they're going to move up 2 as well. Theirs happen to be the same as well at the start. Now these are not fully symmetrical, as you can probably see, but in the case of these, they are the same. So they're going to get 2 randoms, and then they're going to move up 2 as well. We're not going to do that for the moment, just because we are going to move through the game a little quicker and show how this works. But afterwards, after all players have taken their actions, what's going to happen now is each of these top discs are going to turn based on the number of players who went to it. So in the case of this, only 1 person went to B, so this is going to pivot clockwise by 1. C is going to go clockwise as well. Let's say, for the sake of arguments, there was somebody else at the table who'd also selected C, then this would also move 1 more for them as well. Then finally, for that turn, we need to do the dance out on the board using the amount for the current round, the tempo. So we're going to give this a good old 2 spins. So we're going to go 1, 2, and that is now going to set us up for the next turn. So we're going to take back our cards, and we're going to do it all over again. Now, I'm going to point out something here. I have a Dondia stick. Dondia sticks are excellent because Dondia sticks allow me a little flexibility in addition to being used for scoring. Let's say it's this round. I look out on the board. I don't see any love matches that I like. In fact, currently there's only no love match, no love match, no love match, no love match. We have only 1 love match here. But I kind of really want this die right here. Actually, no, this works out because I want this die. Let's change that. Let's say that I really want, well, actually, Problem is, I really do want that die. But let's, for the sake of argument, say for some reason I wanted this die, right? So I decide I select C for my card, and we'll say that they select, you know what, it doesn't matter. We'll say they select C as well. We reveal, but I wanted this one. So what I can do is I can spend this Dondia stick, which currently isn't doing anything for me. I can spend it to select from one of the two adjacent discs. So I go ahead and I spend it. But here's the thing. I don't return it back to the supply. I actually give it to the player on my left. So the player on my left gets it and they get to place it anywhere they want immediately. Now, if for some reason they were full, they would pass it on to the next person. It would go to the first person clockwise who has a space available. So that is an interesting choice that you're making. Now, from here, I can now select either one of these. So I go ahead and I take, let's say, the blue 3. Maybe I'm planning for the future, right? So I take the blue 3. I go ahead and I place it, say I put it here. And then my zone action, because now I'm using this one, is to move up 1 on the swatch. Now this was not an ideal turn. It's not what I probably should have done, but it's what I've done, right? So I've done that. There is no love match on this, so I'm not going to move up on the love. So that's going to end my turn. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward to the end of the round. So if you bear with me, I'm going to reset so we can show, or not reset. I'm going to get to the end with some things and show you how scoring works. Okay, so now you see here we're saying that this is how my round ended for me. Obviously, we fudged it a little because I want to show you how the scoring works here. We know that we are going to score based on dice, Dondia sticks, and the dress swatches. Now, the current value of the round, as we saw earlier, is 2. So any dice that I have that match the 2 are going to score the number of dice times my current scoring value. In this case, I only have one set to 2, but I do have a scoring value of 3, so I'm going to get 6 points for that. So we're going to go ahead and move up to 6 on that scoring. Next, we're going to move to Dondia sticks. We have 2 that match colors within our set. So we have a purple here, we have a purple die, we have yellow in here. If this purple had been here, it wouldn't have counted. So it only matters this one. But, so in this case, I've got 2. My current value is 2, so I'm going to get 4 points. So I'm going to go ahead and move up to 10 on there. And then finally, we're going to look at our dress swatches. Now, I only have one dress swatch that matches. And again, it's now based on the die it's next to. If this was here, or even if this was here, it wouldn't work. But it's here, so I've got one match, but I am at 6. So I'm going to get 1 times 6, so I'm going to get additional 6 points there. That's going to get me 16 points for this round. Now, I am going to, again, do another quick set just to show how this can really ratchet up as you're playing the game from round to round. All right, so now let's say this is how it ended at the second round. We have done a lot. Now, this player is playing really, really well. So we're going to score again. But in this round, the end of the second round, we're scoring based on a value of 3 for the dice, for this tempo. Now, this player managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4 dice that match the current tempo, and they currently got a 5. So they're going to score 20 points for their tempo, for their dice. Looking at the Dondia sticks, they're matching 1, 2, 3, 4 to colors, and they have got that at a value of 3, so that's going to get them 12 points. And then finally, here for the dress swatches, they're matching on 1, 2, 3 times 6, they're going to get another 18 points. So that's going to be a very large amount of points. So you see how it gets more intense. The dance gets more intense as you move along. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do that for 3 total rounds. Obviously doing 3 dice, drafting each time, so you're going to draft exactly 9. And then we're going to do our final scoring, and whoever has the most points is going to be the winner there. There is one bit of endgame scoring, and that is here at the bottom. If you manage to get the dice colors that are needed, you are going to get 15 points per dancer that you matched on. Now, they don't have to be in any specific order. In this particular case, this one is the one that's matching, and they're going to get 15 additional points there, but there's a maximum of 45 points you can get there. One thing we didn't talk about was these cards here. I'm going to cover those real quickly. These are the devotion cards. Now, the devotion cards are randomly at the beginning of the game. You're putting 3 out here. Each player is going to get 3 more of these cubes to use. And these are going to be things that you can score during the game and also use this devotion track. So this one here is 6 different colored Dondia sticks during at some point. So you would really need to have all 6 spaces, and you need to have all 6 of them. In which case you're going to score them. But you are going to score them based on your position on the devotion track at the time. How do you move up the devotion track? Well, that is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more turn here with this player using the devotion. And I'm going to do the quick change. Actually, we'll leave it like that. So let's say that I go here. If I select B as my card and nobody else selects B, after I take my actions and check my love matches, I'm going to get the devotion benefit. Now, if I'm the only person there, I just get this devotion action. That might be what I'm trying to get. If more than one player has selected this disc, then we're going to get the devotion points. And we're going to move up the track. Now, you may want to switch from the one that you're currently assigned, in which case you can spend a Dondia stick or you can spend 3 devotion points to gain the opposite benefit, which is really cool. If let's say if I was on this A and I didn't want this, but I was the only one there, I really want more devotion. I could, in theory, spend 3 devotion to then gain 6 devotion, so giving me a net of 3. So but normally, a lot of times, you're going to want these abilities because that's where you can really get into some cool chaining actions, especially if you have some love matches, you have these actions. It's really going to allow you to chain together a lot of actions during a single turn when combined with the love track. There are going to be 3 of those out. They are going to be locked to a certain number of spaces available. And additionally, one more thing when you're playing with the devotion track is earlier when we talked about being able to swap to the 2 adjacents with the Dondia stick, you can also use devotion, 3 devotion points to do that swap as well. All right, so that is the basics of the game. That gives you everything you need to know about it. So let's go up top and let me talk a little bit more to you about the game itself and my thoughts on it. All right, so that is an overview of Raas, A Dance of Love. Now, as I said at the start of this, I'm the publisher. I can't review it, but I thought it would be fun to do this, right? For me, this game's a 10, right? There's no way for me to give it less than a 10. I'm choosing to publish it. I'm bringing it to crowdfunding right now, right here on GameFound. But here's the thing. I've been in love with this game since before I chose to publish it. When Tom Vassell first approached me at Dice Tower West and said he had a game from this designer that he wanted me to look at, I didn't know what to expect. And when he set the game up, when he set the game up in front of me and immediately started spinning and showing the dance, I was in love. Now, back then, it was this laser cut major thing, right? Obviously, that's not how the game ended up. It couldn't end up that way, right? Um, but I fell in love with the spinning, the dance coming alive. And then we sat and we chose random people because I wanted to see the game with real people. And they took to it so amazingly and they loved it. And we all had a great time playing this game. So much so that this was a pitch that I played the whole game. I wanted to sit and play the whole game. And from there, we kept working on it. Shout out to both designers. They kept working on it over this time, refining it. Our artist did an amazing job bringing the characters to life, and I can't take credit for any of that, right? Um, but I'm very proud of it. And what you saw on the table, that was copies that we had made for Gen Con earlier this year with the manufacturer. So some of it's final, some of it was a slightly earlier iteration. For the most part, it is all right at final. Like I know the files now are basically ready to go. Um, and it's just such a beautiful game. And what I really love about this game is that it brings a theme to life that again I wasn't even familiar with, and maybe you aren't either, right? And I really encourage folks to go out, find out more about Raas. It's such a colorful, magical experience, right? But beyond that, it's a game that it's not for one type of gamer. Like I've played this with casual gamers, I've played this with advanced gamers. Casual gamers can take to it very easy because it's very easy to look at that board and know what you can do, right? But advanced gamers, they can really manipulate the actions and figure out how to chain things. Like I've had turns where I delayed moving up the love track, even though like opportunities were there for me to move up the love track, I chose to not choose discs that had love matches so that I could delay it because I had just this perfect idea in mind of how to chain a couple actions. If I could get two love matches at the same time, I could pull this value die or this color die. I could really chain things together. And that really allows this more advanced play too, especially you add in the devotion, it really amps everything up. So overall, again, I can't review the game, but I love this game. And I hope that you will also love this game as well. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this little throwback to my old days with the Dice Tower. And I'll see you in the campaign.